I'm Trudy with Heal Wellness and Therapy. My top 10 tips for buying running shoes or exercise shoes. Why do you buy your shoes? Chances are it might be for the wrong reason. You might buy it because of consumer demand, marketing through a commercial or magazine, maybe celebrity endorsement. Or how about you're brand loyal? Maybe it's price, or maybe it's just a style you're trying to match your outfit. Unfortunately, all of these reasons are flawed. There are two reasons we should purchase our running and exercise shoes. One, to help us prevent injury, and two, to help us fix mechanical dysfunction that we may have in our feet. If you don't know if you have mechanical dysfunction in your feet, here's my suggestion. Watch my YouTube video on foot function and how to buy shoes. Tip number 1, and the most important tip I can tell you. Go to an actual store. We are online shoppers, but this is one area shopping online isn't the place to begin. Once you've been fitted for a shoe, buy a professional who is trained to evaluate your feet. Then if you need to get a second and a third and a fourth shoe within an adequate time period, by all means buy them online. But before then, go to the store, be fitted for the shoe, and make sure that the person who is fitting you is a skilled professional. They need to be able to evaluate your body size, your shoe size, your type of exercise, your past dysfunction and injuries to say, this is the right shoe for you. With that being said, I can't help but right now shout out and give a great thank you to Fleet Feet of Greenville, South Carolina for helping me and providing me with the equipment to help you learn how to take care of buying the right shoe for you. In the description below, check out their website. Tip number 2. Do not buy your running shoes at a shoe store in the morning. If you get up super early, then by all means go when the store opens. But here's the deal. Our feet get bigger as the day goes on. Our lymphatic systems just can't pump all the fluid up to our heart by the day's end. So you don't want to buy a shoe in the morning, have a nice normal sized foot, and then go to try your shoes on an exercise at night and the shoes be too small. So my tip, always buy your shoes in the afternoon and evening so that there have already been fluid changes to your feet. That way you will be guaranteed they'll never be too small. Tip number 3, your daily shoes and exercise shoes are likely not the same size. Exercise and running shoes are usually about a half size or more larger than your regular shoe wear. How do you know that your exercise shoe does in fact fit you? Well, if you take one thumb to the front of the longest toe and there is a sufficient space there, that is the adequate length for your shoe. As well, with your foot in the shoe and you have tied up the laces, if your laces are closer together than 1 inch, chances are the shoe is too big for you. Going back to tip number 1, start at a shoe store, get fitted for the size so you know where you should be. Tip number 4, even though you're buying a new shoe, check that the shoe is flat and not angled before you start wearing it. Most of the shoes that you buy this day and age are mass made, meaning that there is not an inspection of every single shoe that is sent out for sale. What do I mean by the shoe being flat? When you place the shoe on a table, make sure that the shoe is flat on the back and isn't angled. So what does an angled shoe look like? Well, I have an old one to give you an example, but you would be looking at this even with the new shoe. If I was to put this shoe flat on a table, it is going to be angled inward. Looking at the back of the shoe, it will be worn one way to know that our shoes are worn, but it will also show an angulation inward. Some manufacturing of the EVAs of the shoes sometimes does not allow for level manufacturing. Tip number 5, before you purchase those shoes, do the ROC test. Now, what is the ROC test? If you take a shoe and you go to the front of the shoe and you rock it, as you rock that shoe, you should see the shoe rock back and forward. This is a brand new shoe, but it is manufactured incorrectly. If I rock the shoe actually rotates, meaning even though it is a cushioning shoe, it's going to give uneven cushioning to my foot as I walk, run, or exercise. The shoe is going to wear out quicker, and worse yet, it may not prevent the injury, which is the reason I'm wearing it in the first place. So before you buy your shoe, do the ROC test. Just make sure that the manufacturing of the midsole of the shoe is even. Tip number 6, try on the shoes. Now, I don't mean just put them on your feet, stand up, walk for 6 or 7 minutes, come back, take them off and say, I'll take them. I mean, take the time, put them on your feet, walk around the shoe store, sit in the shoes, see how your feet feel in the shoes. My recommendation, 10 minutes at a minimum. Keep the shoes on your feet. Make sure that it truly fits you before you purchase that shoe and walk out the door. Tip number 7 really could be partially tip number 6. When you are looking for an exercise shoe, it should be comfortable the minute you put it on. If you feel hot spots or slippage or any amount of uncomfortableness in that shoe, toss it. It's not the right shoe for you. The shoe you want is the shoe, as soon as you lace it up, you feel comfort. Tip number 8, if you have orthotics or inserts or lifts, bring them with you when you try on your shoes. Various shoes come in different widths. That is so that they can accommodate wider feet, but also so that they can accommodate orthotics. If you don't wear a custom orthotic, which is expensive, which is prescriptive, and which you should really only be wearing if a healthcare professional has evaluated you and determined the dysfunction in your feet to necessitate an orthotic. As a physical therapist, unfortunately, I take out more orthotics that people wear than I prescribe or recommend. The reason being, if you put them in the right shoe, they don't need the orthotic. But some individuals that can't afford an expensive custom orthotic, ladies and gentlemen, there are options out there for you for over-the-counter orthotics. Over-the-counter orthotics are either a flexible, moldable neoprene that just can be inserted into your shoe, or over-the-counter orthotics can be more semi-rigid. Superfeet is a great brand that I recommend often for my patients and clients because they serve different purposes and they have various different orthotics. Spanko is a great orthotic that is neoprene, meaning more shock absorption. So if you can't afford a high cushioning shoe and the cost sticks you back into a just neutral cushioning shoe because that's all that your bank account will help you with, and then sometimes something as simple as neoprene helps with the cushioning. So there's lots of options for orthotics and inserts and lifts. But whatever you're using inside your new shoes, bring it with you, try it on with the shoe. Don't add it to the shoe after you've purchased the shoe. Tip number 9, the life of a shoe. How do you know when you need new shoes? Bioengineering research tells us that the average exercise sneaker or running shoe lasts 300 to 500 miles of use. But what does that mean? You need to know how to evaluate your shoes so that you know when to get new shoes. Because if you live somewhere that's high humidity, or you're wearing your shoes and they're getting wet regularly, you're breaking down those shoes at a higher rate than 300 to 500 miles. If you live in an arid climate, your shoes never get wet, then it's very likely that your shoe can match what research tells us, 300 to 500 miles. But how can you tell when a shoe is worn? Well, tip number 1 of tip number 9, never look at the bottom of a shoe. This is blown or carbon rubber, ladies and gentlemen. If it is worn out, that shoe is long past its life. The benefit of the bottom of a shoe is for a healthcare provider to likely evaluate what type of shoe you need, how you function with your foot, not that the shoe is worn. So instead, a couple of ways to know that your shoe is excessively worn. You will see horizontal cracks or fissures in the ethyl vinyl acetate of the midsole. Also, you may find that the toeing part of the shoe breaks and cracks in one space. A new or efficient shoe that is not worn will generally cause a nice curve rather than a crack or fold where it is worn. Finally, the inside of the shoe may be compressed down and the sock liner might be worn out completely. Those are some suggestions to know when your shoes are gone. Tip number 10. What are you wearing on your feet between your foot and your shoe? It actually is very important. If you are wearing cotton socks, you are allowing moisture to stay in your shoe, wearing your shoe out, and likely causing problems with your feet. The socks we wear in exercise shoes need to be of a moisture-wicking material. That material can be anything that wicks moisture from wool to something else. It can be a low profile, it can be a thin sock. Heck, it can even have silver in it to be antimicrobial. But don't wear cotton socks in your running shoes and exercise shoes. You're wearing your shoes out faster than you need to. So that's it, my top 10 tips for shoe buying of exercise or running shoes. If you like this video, give us the thumbs up below. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel and select the bell for notifications of future videos that are coming out. Thank you.